Hello and welcome back to No Limit Drag Racing 2.0. And this time we're doing a build of the other front-wheel drive car from the imports update, and more specifically, the Acura RSX. Although I have been seeing a lot of people doing Integra-inspired designs on this car. And also, speaking of designs, I have since changed the design on this car because while it is definitely very Need for Speed Underground-esque and it's very of that time period, I don't know, it didn't necessarily fit with a lot of the other cars in my garage. And so after I was done making this video, I did go ahead and switch up the paint job a little bit. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the tune. Now, the tune for this car will be linked in the description down below. So if you would like to see the full in-depth tune from the tune's original creator, go ahead and check the link in the description down below and make sure you support the original tuner. Now, as far as my thoughts about the car itself go, I actually like it a lot. I like it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I actually did not think that it was going to be as fast as the Civic, and it actually ended up being faster than the Civic was. Now, granted, I'm sure there are faster Civics out there. The best I was able to do with this car was a 560, although, well, a 5.6 something. It was somewhere in the mid to high 560s, although the original creator of the tune has managed to get this exact same setup into the 5.5s, which is wildly fast. So let me know in the comments down below if you were able to actually get this thing into the 550s, because if you were, that's some proper driving. That is absolutely wheeling the crap out of this car. And honestly, something that I learned really quickly actually about driving this car was that similarly to the EK Civic that we did not too long ago, this car is very dependent on how well you do your 1-2 shift. So if you're actually trying to get better with this car, you just need to dial in that 1-2 shift over and over and over again. And throughout a lot of these races, I kind of almost got it, but I never quite got it dialed into the point that I wanted it to be. So that's honestly probably why I never hit the 550s. But I'm sure that with more practice, I could definitely, I could probably hit at least one 550. I still have yet to ever do one in a front wheel drive car. So I'm gonna keep trying with it. I think I'll eventually get there. And I'm sure that now that I've said that 550s are achievable with this car, I'm sure someone in the comments down below is going to be saying that they have a self-tuned 530 car or something. Because it never fails. Whenever I do any kind of content related to No Limit, it always kind of, or at least a lot of the comments always turn into, oh, you think that's fast? Oh, well, I have XYZ car and it does XYZ time every race. Every single race. It never makes a mistake. Nor do I, because I'm an absolutely perfect driver and I never lose any races at all. And you're just terrible at the game and I can't even believe you post. And I know that that sounds genuinely ridiculous when I say it out loud like that, but it's not far off from a lot of the comments that I've had on some of my videos on this game. And it's interesting. You would think that stuff like that would be more prevalent in some other games, but I think people just get extremely competitive when it comes down to, the game is literally heads up drag racing. So it's down to that one competitive aspect. And so I think with it being that competitive, a lot of people just get extremely competitive and they love to go off in comments. And I am by no means saying that there is anything wrong with being competitive, especially in a game that is literally, hell, the whole point of it is to be competitive. So don't get me wrong, nothing against being competitive. I'm competitive, just not to the level that I go to other people's comment sections and tell them that my car does times that it doesn't actually do. But honestly, I'm getting off on a tangent and I should probably either stop on that tangent or keep going on that tangent and somehow eventually circle back to where we originally started. Now, I went back and forth with this R34 over and over and over and over again because honestly, the races were really, really good and really, really close. And I kept honestly frustrating myself a little bit because I kept making little errors that I knew that if I didn't make them, I would have had so many more of these wins. Now, obviously, those are excuses, but, you know, every time I seem to make any kind of excuse about, honestly, almost any of the races I do in this game, if I end up messing something up and I'm like, oh, well, it wasn't that big of a deal. I just accidentally did this or messed this up or blah, 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 blah. But, and this never fails, someone in the comments is going to pick that up and say, well, actually, that's not why that happened. You're just trying to bandage the fact that you're just a horrible driver and you don't know how to tune, you don't know how to drive, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, first of all, I never claimed to know how to tune. I credit the people I get my tunes from. And then as far as actual driving goes, I'm halfway decent. I'm not necessarily grand, but I'm halfway decent at it. Also, I literally joined this session and I don't know what it was. When it literally came time to do the burnout, the opponent just left. And so I was like, cool, free run. And it ended up being a really good time. It actually ended up being one of the best times I ran in the entire video. It was one of my 560s, 5649, which to be honest was definitely on the faster end of the times I ran in this video. Not quite that elusive 550. But I mean, hell, if it was even one of the, you know, if it was like a 5.599, hell, I'd still be happy with that. I mean, and honestly, anybody would be happy with that, especially in this class. And if you're not happy with a 5.599, I just kind of want to know what cars you're driving and what kind of people you're racing against, where a 5599 is not good enough for you. But anyway, enough of my, I don't know what you would even call that, just what, ranting? I've ranted a lot in this video, but I'm probably gonna not rant as much as the video goes on. Actually, that's a lie. I'm gonna keep ranting. But no, seriously, when I actually finally got to do some races against that Honda Civic, the EK hatch, this thing actually started to show how good it really was when it was actually up against another front-wheel drive car. Now, obviously, this is no sort of apples-to-apples tune comparison, but this thing is no slouch whatsoever. And I'm honestly going to have to go back and do some more work on my Civic now, because I'm a little bit concerned that this thing is just going to keep getting dramatically better and better and better. And I'm really hoping that this car hasn't already hit its ceiling, because it's already so fast. It's such an incredibly fast car. And I almost wonder why not that many people out there are using this car. Now, because this car is kind of an odd one, because it's the car that I see the least people using. But then again, it's like, I don't understand why, unless you just visually don't like the way the car looks, which is entirely understandable and valid if it's just not your style of car. But I see a lot of R34s, understandably. I see a lot of Datsun Zs, which I still need to do a build on one of those, because apparently those can be extremely quick too. And I also see very few Mark III Supras, which I also really want to do a proper build on the new Mark III. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Although if you have used it, let me know in the comments down below, because I would love to know your thoughts on the Mark III if it was a car that you enjoyed ripping around in. And now that we're getting down to pretty much the very end of the video, the last quarter of the video, if you will. And technically we've been in the last quarter of the video for a while now, so don't worry about it. But for real, if you're still watching at this point in the video, it's clear to me that you've stuck around this long. So I think that we have license to talk about this stuff now. And that is, holy crap, the amount of comments I've been seeing on all of these recent No Limit videos is like just a bunch of people going, what happened to your voice? What happened to this? What happened to that? And I'm like, y'all, I've updated you on this multiple times in multiple places on multiple platforms in multiple pieces of content. And I don't necessarily know what else to do in terms of making sure y'all are aware. But yet, with every new video, it seems like there are people that are like, oh, big surprise. And I'm sorry, but if you're still shocked, you probably need to do just a little bit of catching up. Like, I have made the content for that. I have made the content that should answer y'all's questions. And if you want to see it, it's all there. But at the end of the day, if you did enjoy this video and enjoyed this build of the RSX, let me know your thoughts and opinions on it in the comments down below. And I will see y'all in the next one. Talk to y'all later, and I hope y'all enjoyed.